we should also be live on Twitch. We got to those 1,000 followers. We did what we got to do. If you want to watch the more kind of like produced version of it, where it's not a little off center on Twitch, or not Twitch, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm jet lagged. I got in at midnight last night. Slept for a few hours, got up, and I was like, I gotta get these live streams out for patrons. Obviously, if you're watching this live, you do not need to be a patron, but in order to rewatch it with all the additional stuff, you do need to be a Patreon. That's patreon.com/synchronicity. It's pretty easy to remember. It's the name of the podcast. I will be doing Aries September 2023 reading today. Thank you for bearing with me while I was away in Turkey having dysentery for 3 months. I actually don't know what it is. I'm going to go to a GI specialist. Feeling a lot better. Got a nice tan. Can't complain. I like how much whiter I look on the OBS or on the Streamlabs stream, though. TikTok, doing your thing. Is that a filter on there? Why do I look great? So we'll be doing Aries today. So if you don't know what these are, every month, right? Usually they're before the last day of the month. Before the upcoming month, I do live streams for all Zodiac signs on the Patreon, patreon.com/synchronicity. And we do them for the following month. And so this is a combination of the astrological movements and just the readings and energies that go into that for each sign, as well as some tarot and oracle cards. So we'll be doing Aries to start. We go 12 in a row, 12 back the other way. We'll probably try, maybe we should do from the middle out. Poor middle signs there. You're never first, huh? It's not fair. Maybe we could just scale up like progressions like in astrology. That could work. So we're going to start with Aries. A reminder, this is for your sun, moon, Venus, and rising signs. So the way that's going to differentiate, I think it's worth covering here since we're going live on TikTok for the first time with this stuff, is your sun sign, right? This is how you express yourself. This is how people who actually, really like just come off to other people in the world's quarter, but it's just like how you get your natural expression out. Now, a lot of people sometimes don't feel like their sun sign because they feel like their moon sign, which is exactly what your moon sign represents. It's how you feel about yourself. When you're alone, when you're in your feels, that's what that is. That's your moon sign. And then we have the rising sign. This is probably how you come off to other people. So if you don't understand why you feel a different way, kind of seem to express yourself in a certain way, and how you come off to other people is like a little bit different at times, then that may explain that. And then your Venus, if you are an Aries Venus or any zodiac sign I do for Venus, this will be basically for, love, relationship matters. It doesn't have to be just intimate partnerships. This is just like a feeling of love, communion, grace, joy, those types of things. So that's how we do these readings. We start off Aries for you with just kind of some of the shit that's going on. So I'm sure a lot of you know we had a big super blue moon last night. I think the last one until 2037 or something like that. So it's a pretty big deal. And that just means it's the second full moon of the month. And that's not a very common occurrence. As we can see, the next one is going to be like, what? What's going on with my hair? So I had too much hair now. I don't know what to do with it. So, basically that's not going to happen for a long time. That's I believe it was in Pisces too. If I go back to the August readings, I think it was in Pisces, and this is a good time. I know we're just I'm talking about August now, not September yet. This is a good time to just review your feelings, how you felt over the past year. A lot of us have had a very tough year, right? A lot of ups and downs, but a lot of just like difficult things coming to the surface, and especially around your internal life and your feelings and how that has impacted you. And just, you could have been really going through it. I sure as hell know I have. So this full moon was a good time to kind of like see the culmination of that and allow that to kind of fade away, come to terms with it. It doesn't mean it's all going to go away. It's like instantly, magically, you're going to feel better because we had a super full blue moon, but it is something that is a major astrological event that I wanted to mention. We have a lot of retrogrades happening now, and we also have a big retrograde starting this month in Taurus, and that's Jupiter is going to start going retrograde, and that's it's an interesting one. We'll talk about it a little bit. But for you, Aries, let's talk about some of the other stuff. We got Mercury retrograde still going on, right? That's until the 15th of September. So we still have a little bit of that. I can tell you, it is what you make of it. And I want to just point this out again. I know I've pointed it out plenty of times. None of this stuff is like binding. It doesn't make you do stuff. It doesn't force energies onto you that you have to play out a certain scenario. My firm conviction is our consciousness, our sense of who we are, our sense of what reality is, truly dictates what we experience. I've seen this on both sides of the coin. When you know that you're able to kind of summon forth and imagine the best for you in life, your life tends to reflect that. When you're feeling low, depressed, down, like nothing is working, you can't catch a break, it also reflects that. Now, I say this because sometimes when we think of this like reality creation, whatever you want to talk about it, manifestation, we think it's just like, oh, if we just can force ourselves to believe and think and know stuff, then that's what will happen. But you know how you feel and what you believe. You're always consenting to a certain version of your reality. So where tarot and astrology fits into that, these are tools, these are modalities, these are systems that have a connection to our subconscious. Our subconscious is what drives our perception of reality, right? It's what drives our imagination. It just creates our reality more so than what we consciously consent to. However, we can use the conscious masculine mind to impregnate, so to speak, the subconscious feminine mind, which allows us then to kind of have them work in harmony, come together in union, and kind of work with each other to create things that we desire, right? And desire gets a bad rap in a lot of, religions and contemplative science. It's just, people think like, well, you shouldn't want for anything. Just be grateful for what you have. Sure. How's that working out for you in life? Have you ever been able to find a state where you don't desire something? Maybe for a brief fleeting moment, maybe if you blast yourself out on acid or other psychedelics, maybe for a little while, but to really attain that state in this world, which we've chosen to embody and believe in, it's not that easy. So our desires point us towards what we want, what we feel will give us some type of satisfaction or joy or grace or ecstasy, whatever it is. So I'm just rehashing this because we're going live on the TikTok for the first time. Anyway, back to you, Aries. Venus does station direct September 5th. Okay, that's a good thing. Venus has also been retrograde. Like I said, we got a bunch of planets retrograde. You should expect, and again, retrograde doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean that something is going wrong. A lot of times it's reviewing certain energies in particular areas related to the planets, right? Your placements of those planets in your natal, your birth chart, will kind of show you, depending on where they are in the housing system, what areas might be coming up for you. And so again, I use these as tools. I do astrology readings, I do tarot readings, not because I feel like they're going to tell us what's going to happen, not so much for prognostication or electoral, what's known as electoral astrology. There are people who are very, very good at that. I tend to use it just as a map, as like a potential weather outlook of what's going on energetically. And I believe that. And I've known it to be true, but I do not place it above my own agency and consciousness in terms of like what is going on in life. Okay. So let's just point that out. So I said Jupiter goes retrograde in Taurus on September 4th. And that's a big one. That's a big energy, feelings related to comfort, sensuality, material stuff. Jupiter is going retrograde. Now, it doesn't, again, necessarily mean a constriction, but it may be time to review just where are you in your life finding these areas that are kind of like, where have you been seeking pleasure? Where have you been seeking comfort? Where have you been seeking sensuality? These types of things. Reviewing those is going to be a good opportunity for that. I wouldn't expect a lot of expansion in those particular areas. You have a planet seemingly moving backwards, which is what retrograde means. Just keep in mind that that's not necessarily going to be something that is getting bigger. That's what Jupiter tends to do. It expands, right? We relate it to Zeus in the Greek pantheon of gods, right? Boons, hey, everyone's happy. Let's give everyone all this awesome shit, okay? So we got a new moon in Virgo on the 14th. It's a great time to set intentions, especially around specific plans, organization. Virgo is a very organizing, attention to detail planet. When you have a new moon in Virgo, it's a really good time to look ahead and be like, hey, what intentions would I like to set in terms of getting more organized? Where can I tighten up a little bit? Where have I been letting things slack? Where can I come up? And I mean, writing things down is always a great idea. Well, what can I write down to kind of like set these intentions and have them culminate on the full harvest moon in Aries, for you, this is the Aries reading, on the 29th of September, right? So that's a big deal. That is like, if you Aries really can set your intentions with that Virgo new moon, that's going to be stuff you want to focus on. And you'll see how that impacts you, specifically Aries, going into September, right? Sun enters Libra, Leo season. Bye-bye. It was fun. Time to flex. I know. I get it. Live it up. But September 23rd is also the first day of fall. And that's when it enters Libra. So it's going to be a big shift in energies. Everyone knows that shift from summer to fall. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it is a pretty big change. It goes from kind of this fun, expansive, get out there. Not that you shouldn't be in nature in the fall. It's probably my favorite month, but things start to slow down. They get a little bit darker. It's not getting, the sun's not out as much. So that's a big shift you got going on, Aries. So let's talk about some of the astrological movements specifically related to you. Okay. And this is having to do with all of the planets movements that I just mentioned, and also specifically where these are in your chart. Some of these, I shouldn't say a lot of these, some of these have to do with your sun placement. So if I mention certain things about the sun Aries, I assume most people watching this are going to be sun Aries. But if you are moon, Venus, or rising, these won't be the exact energies you can expect, but it is an Aries energy. Also, I want to point this out, Aries. Have you noticed how many fucking fires there have been over this year? There's definitely something going on, and Jupiter has been in Aries. There's definitely something going on, though, with all of this fire energy. It's like burning shit down to the fucking ground. A lot of fresh start energy, a lot of just kind of fiery, transformative energy. Aries, you are ruled by the planet Mars, right? So that means you have a huge predilection towards forging your own path. You could potentially be seen as combative, but you really just have a lot of energy typically to move towards the things that you want to move towards. Out of sync Aries is someone who feels stuck, is someone who feels like I can't get this shit done. It's not really something that's working for me. That won't work for you, right? You will know internally if you feel stagnant, if you feel like you're not moving, if you're not feeling like you have passion for things. That's out of sync Aries. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that going on for these energies coming up in September. So these periods, by the way, in terms of like these transitions, when we go from summer to fall, if you're in the northern hemisphere, they're wonderful for seeing new insights. Also finding alternative processes in terms of how to watch and kind of operate, and also getting more in touch with your intuition, right? Aries, you can just sometimes go completely on instinct, which differs from intuition, which is kind of taking a beat and allowing yourself to listen to like, what's going on inside? What's going on? That's a little different than just moving on instinct. And Aries, as the first sign of the zodiac, fire sign, Mars rules you, like you just want to fucking go. And I get it. And a lot of people can get pegged as kind of like young souls with Aries energy. That's not necessarily true, but it's absolutely something that can happen. Okay. Your normal sets of checks and balances, though, is often out to lunch. Like it's not really able to kind of regulate your behavior all of the time. And you may have certainly been feeling that in terms of like just not being able to collect yourself before you move ahead. But important decisions should probably be left until the rational mind has returned for you a little bit, so we can kind of think things through in September, and also be able to look at things with fresh perspectives. That's something that you should find, regardless of your placements of Aries. You should be able to find fresh perspective. That turning over, that new energy is something that really is a big part of Aries energy. So just be willing to do that. And then this is when you're going to want to take action, right? I'm specifically referring to Mercury retrograde here, but Venus retrograde ends early in the month. But like, don't make too many fucking moves until Mercury retrograde is done. It's a reviewing period. It's a time not to necessarily rush forward, which may be at odds as your natural kind of like movement, but it's not necessarily something you want to kind of act on at any like and on whim, right? So try to think things through. Notice if you're thinking things about things rationally and kind of make decisions based on that. Okay. The entire first week of September is going to be filled kind of with this laziness, and maybe you have like a overreaction to like sweets and just kind of indulging your physical senses. Just pace yourself. I'm not saying not to do that. And don't get fooled into thinking that this is your permanent reality. Like I said, you want to fucking move. You want to get shit done. It's completely understandable, Aries. No one is telling you not to do that. I'm just saying, maybe this will pass in a little bit. You may not be feeling like you have your normal energy reserves. This is also very normal just for the end of the switchover from kind of the August month to the September month. But again, you got Mercury retrograde going on. You got Venus retrograde going on. You got Jupiter retrograde starting. There's a lot of stuff that is kind of just maybe not allowing you to move forward as quickly as you would like to move forward. And that's fine. Situations will arise, though, that require decisive decisions. You're not going to be able to play this game where you necessarily can back off and observe yourself without making moves, right? Think of like Two of Swords energy, right? This kind of holding two swords up. It's not a tenable situation. So you are going to have to make quick decisions at times. More important than quick decisions, decisive decisions. Like, yes, this is something I want to do. I want to begin this relationship. I want to try this new thing. I want to try a new job. I want whatever those things are, you're going to need to make firm yes or no decisions. First week, probably don't make those decisions. That's all I'm saying. If you absolutely have to, just try to get in touch with that rational masculine aspect of your mind. Okay. Masculine, that's a word, right? Mars in Libra, though, is definitely going to be putting the heat on you this month, right? So Libra is this air sign. When you combine it with Aries, you get a very combustible energy. And the sun is also moving into Libra. There's just a lot of this potential for combustible energy, and you may feel like you're under like, not a microscope, but like one of those interrogation lamps at times. Like you're being like interrogated about how you feel. What are you going to do? Blah, blah. And this is you doing this to yourself. There may be external situations that certainly arise that have this happen to you. But for the most part, this is an internal sense of pressure that you may be feeling this month, right? Some choices you make may also lead you down a path that you didn't necessarily foresee. Okay. Don't react to that. Don't say, oh no, this is so bad. We have to deal with certain things in our lives, not necessarily going as we envision them consciously. The key thing to remember here is your inherent power to subconsciously, imaginatively know how your life is and know how your life will kind of smooth out into these kind of waves of consciousness, and that is outpictured on your screen of reality. That's the driving force. But if you start reacting to things that haven't gone your way, that's going to maybe feel like a little too much for you, and it's going to solidify that probably in a way that's not particularly comfortable for you. And that's all I'm saying. It's not a big deal. Your environment and events, though, around you will probably heavily influence your decisions, right? And that's okay too. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's just like you're going to have to kind of recognize that certain things outside of you externally may really put kind of a pressure on you to make certain decisions. Just try to make sure those decisions are in your best interest, right? Right, to ensure positive outcomes here, it's also crucial to exercise caution and refrain from making impulsive decisions driven solely by your emotions. This is not a natural Aries strength, okay? Slowing down, not making decisions quickly, that can be a difficult thing for you to do. I just want to highlight that if you do make impulsive decisions this month, that's when those outcomes may not go the way that you particularly wanted. So it's challenging in the sense, like, there's a lot of good stuff here too. We'll get into that, but there's a lot of potential for this month to give you some serious insights on what it is like you want to be doing, but more importantly, who do you want to be? Like, what are you actually trying to do? Okay. Are you going to be continuously influenced and reacting to external stimuli and then making decisions off that? Or are you going to take a second to kind of go within, understand, like, this is what I really want. What steps do I need to take to do that? And again, going back to that Virgo new moon on the 14th, that would be an excellent time to potentially write down what your intentions are and what you want your life to be. Don't be afraid to dream big here, Aries. There's a lot of energy coming in that I think is going to be quite positive for you. So Venus is in retrograde. It goes direct Like I said, this trajectory also should restore kind of your characteristic optimism and positive attitude, and your drive, infusing you also with renewed energy. And Mercury retrograde also ending there is going to be a very positive outcome for you. So just try to get through the first week of maybe feeling a little idle and lazy, and you should really start to get more energy as that second week rolls around and especially culminates. Okay, the situation is definitely gradually improving, right? And now this is very much related. If this is your Venus sign, Aries, this could absolutely have to do with a relationship, but it's a complex situation for you right now. It's not simple. It's not simple yes or no, this will happen, that'll happen. So spend some time reflecting upon your intentions and carefully consider the potential consequences of any actions that you may take. Again, I know that's not how you operate, Aries. I know that's not your natural tendency. The goal here is to try to just take a little bit of an observer mindset and see how you can think these things through and feel them through before making quick, decisive actions, okay? Still exercise caution beyond the 16th as Venus goes retrograde, goes forward, stations direct. Any perceived tranquility in romantic relationships could give way to unexpected conflicts and challenges. And what this basically means is, like, don't rest on your laurels. Okay, if you're in a relationship and you're an Aries, you're passionate, you're fiery. If you let that kind of flame diminish, that's when problems can start to show up in your relationships, Aries, right? That's when things get a little bit rocky. You have to bring that same kind of passion and energy and show up really in your relationships if you want them to be positive. Otherwise, like, that's when shit gets a little fighty. You're getting some fights with some peeps. You know what I mean? So just try to keep up that like intense connection you may have between either an intimate or just could be friends or family. Just make sure you're aware of how much energy you're putting into a situation. Okay. Embrace the idea of cultivating a harmonious and shared life rather than rejecting it. And this absolutely is for you. Venus, Aries placements, Sun, of course, too, Moon, of course, rising. But basically, don't try to go somewhere else to get what it is that you need. You seek partnership, you seek communion, you seek union for a reason with another. Don't constantly be chasing the grass is always greener, or you don't want to commit to something necessarily. Aries, you can run through partners like a motherfucker. I'll say it as plainly as possible. You can really go through things very quickly, very easily. Try to take some time to like not do that and see if you're involved with someone that maybe this is someone that's worth committing to and sharing a life with, not just having your own individual existence, but actually sharing a life with someone. That may be something that's quite important to you, right? So Venus, after it goes direct, make sure you kind of place some focus there. Okay. Here's some things you can do this month. Spend some time in nature, meditate, journal, connect with others, and be patient. I know patience is not the easiest thing. Just try, just like kind of feel yourself into it. Again, avoid those impulsive decisions, right? The sun, Libra is your opposite sign as well. And so when the sun moves into that, just recognize this is more of a time for introspection and reflection, and you're kind of being forced to see through the eyes of other people, which is not necessarily what you do to get through situations, right? This is not necessarily something that you are used to doing, putting yourself in another's position to look at a specific issue or maybe even view yourself through their eyes. Try to do that. It's a good month for that. There's a lot of opportunity in September for you, Aries. It is very much a turning of the wheel, especially as we have, Jupiter has been in Aries for most of the year. It's going into Taurus, and then it's going retrograde. I think it might even come back into your sign. I have to check on that. Just make sure that you're aware of kind of that energy, that it's a big shift for you. And when you have an opposite sign placement, the sun moves into it, it does shift kind of that expressive energy you have and kind of shift it towards others and how they may perceive, right? Mars enters Taurus, so your ruling planet enters Taurus. Increased energy and drive, more focus on well-being, physical well-being, and material positions, right? For you specifically, Aries, this is going to be a big shift. Make sure that you kind of pay attention to that. And as your energy increases, don't just waste it away on frivolous activities. Use that to build something that is lasting, This is a great time to start new endeavors, provided that you put in the time and energy and pay attention to the details to kind of allow those things to prosper. Okay. Jupiter is in Aries right now, but it will be moving into Taurus. Thanks for the resub, Plan Alpha. This is a time of expansion and growth, and you're more confident and ambitious than usual, but then we do have that shift into Taurus and then the retrograde. So just keep that in mind. That energy is going to be shifting. Saturn is still in Aquarius. This is still a time of responsibility and discipline, and you may need to be a little more focused and kind of determined than usual. Again, that first week for you, Aries, may not be the time to don't take everything I'm saying at all points during the month. Like that initial week, you may feel slowed down. You may feel a little bit idle. Just chillax, relax, wait it out. It is not going to last for very long. You should notice a serious increase in energy as soon as that first week abates. There's a lot of things that are going positively, and that energy will continue throughout the month. So just don't waste it. Take your time to use it, okay? Uranus is also in Taurus. You're seeing the world kind of go through these drastic gyrations right now. Expect that to continue. Sorry, right? But overall for you, Aries, here's your month in a nutshell astrologically, and then we will get to the cards. It's a time of reflection, introspection, and change. There's a lot of change going on in your life, Aries, regardless of whether you're sun, moon, Venus, or rising. There's just change going on. Yes, change goes on for everyone, but this is a month of intense potential and change for you, provided you put in that introspective energy, right? Provided that you really take the time to actually do that. You should be feeling, though, especially after this first week, more determined, more focused, but you also might experience some communication breakdowns and misunderstandings. Try not to react to those. That's my advice to you. Try not to react to those, okay? It's important to be patient and understanding during this time and to focus on personal growth. And that's what this month sets the stage for, not just for September, not just for the rest of the year, but also for next year. This is a big opportunity for you really to access and kind of feel yourself into a new way of being. Get that? Just make sure. And then remember, at the end of the month, Friday, September 29th, full moon in Aries. This is like your month to really set the stage to culminate and reap the rewards of this new version of your life that you have been kind of, you know what it is. You know what it is. You know who you are. You know who you would like to be. When you recognize that who you would like to be is who you are now, you begin to allow that to express itself in the world. You will see people reacting to you. We could go into the Neville Garter techniques. You see people reacting to you the way they would react to you if you were the person you wanted to be, which you are. So take this energy and allow yourself to do it. Yeah, Plan Alpha, it was a full moon last night. It was a super blue moon. We don't get another one of those for 13 years or so. Yep. It's the second full moon of the month. So, there's some cool stuff going on. I mean, like I said, Plan Alpha, this is over on Twitch, guys. I got in around 11:30 last night back to my house after 24 hours of traveling, and I could barely sleep. 3 hours. So I'm a little jet lagged. I'm capitalizing on that right now by getting these out. But yeah, full moons always fuck with me. I'm a Cancer sun sign. They just the moon is just when it's full, it doesn't matter what's going on. I could have just been working on a farm for, 18 hours. I still would have trouble going to sleep. So don't fight it. Embrace it. The moon, we like it. Feelings, good stuff. So yeah, it's a good month for you. A lot of potential, a lot of opportunity. Let's get into these cards, right? We start with the Page of Cups. Page of Cups, obviously, it's one of my favorite cards. Playful curiosity is the encapsulation of the energy that we bring. And that's going to be important for you this month because there may be some misunderstandings. There may be some communications. There may be some idleness, especially at the beginning of the month. How you approach that and how you allow that to kind of fit into the narrative of your life, right? It has a big impact. If you can take it lightly and as it comes, guess what? You're going to have a grand old time. If you take it super hard and serious and everything is going to be fucked up because you're not feeling well right now, guess what? gonna feel that too. So this lightness, this levity, the playfulness, the curiosity, the being interested in whatever moods and kind of trials and tribulations you may be going through will absolutely serve you in a incredibly positive way. And then we have the 8 of Cups here, right? 8 of Cups is the card of kind of leaving behind situations that are emotionally unsatisfying. So Aries, what I would say to you based on your astrology is don't be too rash with those decisions, okay? You absolutely may be emotionally done with a situation, and no one is telling you not to leave a situation where you're just done. Emotionally, you don't have the feelings for it, you can't feel it. No one is telling you to leave that, not to leave that, right? Just don't make that decision impulsively. Don't make it too hastily. Don't let that wash over you and just react to it. Think it through. What are the reasons that you need to leave this situation? What are the reasons that you need to keep it moving? Okay. Really take the time, spend some energy there, investing into your intuition and into how you actually feel. That's going to make sure you make the right decisions. That's not going to lead to conflict. If you leave situations too quickly, no so good, huh? You know what I mean? And then finally, we get the 7 of Pentacles. And this is like the card for you this month, Aries. Okay? This is the card of setting your intentions, setting out the firm conviction and belief of who you are and who you would like to be, and allowing those seeds to be planted and then patiently waiting for them to come. That probably sounds like a nightmare to you, Aries, who likes to wait patiently for things, right? It's for the birds. But if you are able to make that transition, if you are able to take those steps, you absolutely will reap those rewards. The biggest reward that you can reap for this month is that meta skill of allowing yourself to set your intentions and allowing those things to prosper. An Aries who can do that is basically like superpowered. You're always going to have energy. You're going to feel inspired. You're going to feel like you can get shit done and you need to get stuff done and you want to get stuff done. But if you can combine that with this ability to patiently plant seeds in your mind, in your subconscious, in your imagination, then you have like kind of a pretty potent combo right there. It's something that really could feed you and your life and your loved ones in a very positive way. And that's what this month is trying to communicate to you. September coming up, okay? Just don't give in to maybe things that seem like they're not going right. Or if you can't summon that energy in the beginning of the month, that's okay. You don't have to, okay? So, yeah, those are your tarots. Let's pull some oracles. Hawk Spirit. Let Spirit be your guide. And again, this speaks to your emotions, right? Your ability to kind of feel your intuition, right? Take some time with it. The more you can slow down, reflect on things, truly reflect on them, the better served you will be. This is going to show you areas of your life that you might not have considered before that are of particular interest to you, or maybe you thought about them but just didn't think you could pursue them. You know, it wasn't in the cards for you. It just wasn't something that was going to happen. Why do you feel like that? Is that true? Is there something that you've really been meaning to kind of express or do in your life that you haven't been able to do up until this point? You got some help there. Cow Spirit. Make sure I can get this. Hello. Cow Spirit. The miracles are endless too. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of potential. To be able to access miracles, first things first, you have to believe that miracles occur, that you are able to summon them forth based on your conviction, your belief, your knowingness, your imagination. There's plenty of techniques. I've spoken about them plenty of times on the podcast of how you can access that belief and conviction mindset, but they're there. But you have to sometimes put in the intention or the prayer, right, to get those things to show up in your life. So first step, believe that miracles are happening, believe that they're possible, but also know that you can believe in things for yourself and be patient enough to understand what needs to unfold in your life. What is it that you really, again, are trying to express? Take some time there this month, Aries. The more you can slow down and pause, the easier it's going to be for you. Turtle Spirit. Look, what did I just say? Turtle Spirit. Slow and steady wins the race. I just watched Louis C.K.'s latest special, and he's making fun of the advice, slow and steady wins the race. He's like, really? Doesn't fast and steady kick the shit out of it? And it does. But in this case, the reflective, slow pace for you, Aries, is going to be of benefit. Sometimes it's not. Let's be honest. Most of the time, Aries, it's not. It's not really for you. It's not really the time to slow down. Let me take my time. But this time, this month, that's a good time to do it. Let the new moon be that. Yes, exactly. Prayer equals imagination plus faith. Thank you, Plan Alpha. So basically, you do know that this is possible, but you got to kind of put in the effort. You got to be able to manually slow yourself down. Put the car into park sometimes. Shift it down into a slower gear if you can't stand idle for a little bit. And it's kind of this motion, like no one drives stick shift anymore, but it is this motion of switching gears from the lower gears to the higher gears, and it is going to go in a sequential path for you in September, Aries. So allow that to be something you acknowledge, resonate with, and then you will get that kind of feeling of, yeah, things are moving in the right direction. These conflicts and misunderstandings potentially might not be there to fuck your shit up. It might be there to just show you some aspect of where maybe you have been a little bit too impulsive, a little bit too rash, a little bit too quick to judge potentially either yourself or a situation or another, right? Think about it like that. All right, we are going to wrap these up right around 30 to 40 minutes this time. The Taurus reading will be coming next. I will make sure to go live on all the same channels. A reminder, if you are a patron, these will be posted later. Don't worry. If you are not a patron, become a patron. Patreon.com/synchronicity. It's a fun place. We do this type of stuff. We do a lot more. We got music. We got fun. But for now, that's it, Aries. You have a very powerful opportunity to bring in some real harmony and balance into your life if you can just take advantage of that. So signing off here first on TikTok. How do I do this? And now, and then we will sign this. The